So, 1 hour before, just 1 hour before, Kellogg made an interview on the Fox News with Maria Bartiromo. And that interview made me very clear there isn't any chance for now to reach a peace. Actually, already I saw these invitations and threatening as a kind of PR game between Ukraine and Russia to influence Trump. Because Trump has to decide one thing, or to continue the Biden policies and continue to fund Ukraine and supply weapons, or, as he several times said, he would leave and let on the European side of NATO to support Ukraine. Or after signing the mining agreement, he has a third option, a kind of limited Biden policy that within the framework agreement for mining resources, a kind of limited support for Ukraine in exchange for further rights in exploring those mining resources of Ukraine. And really these peace offers, in one hand, the Zelensky and EU together made a 30 days peace offer just before 9th of May, is a kind of effort to convince Trump that the Russians are not ready to negotiate and gain his support. The counteroffer of Putin that he's ready to negotiate directly, or at least not personally, but through diplomatic teams in Istanbul, was a counteroffer also to convince Trump that the Ukrainians are not ready to make peace. But today, just 1 hour before, Kellogg made an interview with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, and it was very clear that the US position is still the Kellogg proposal, more or less, which only concedes Crimea to Russia, but only offers a kind of postponement of NATO membership issue. This is a no negotiation platform for Russia, because the Russian position is very clear. They need, or they want to gain legitimate ownership over Crimea and the 4 oblasts they think is mostly Russian populated, and Ukrainian neutrality as far as NATO concerned. So after hearing this interview, it's clear Putin won't travel to Istanbul because there's no common ground whatsoever to agree to or to reach an agreement. If there will be any meeting, the meeting will be unsuccessful, and it is up to grab how one decides who has the right, which side has more right or less right. Actually, the only one important person in this discussion is Trump, which position he will take. So maybe Lavrov will travel, especially if Witkoff and Kellogg will travel also. And Lavrov will tell the Americans that their proposal is just not enough for them. And then the American team goes home empty-handed, and finally Trump has to decide what to do. Continue the Biden policies, leave Ukraine, or in between, or begin a new round of diplomatic talks and postpone the final decision of him until the rumored Russian offensive will begin. If the Russian offensive will be stopped by the Ukrainians, This is a completely new situation, and maybe the Russians, after that failure, will much more open to negotiate with Ukraine and with the Americans. If the Russian offensive will gain more foothold in Ukraine, then Ukraine has to think what to do. Or it's Ukrainian, the supporters of Ukraine, the US and Europe has to think whether they put much more effort to support the Ukrainian side to resist the Russian one. But what is clear, as far as I see, there won't be any solution short term, not in Istanbul, because simply the stated positions of Ukraine and Russia is so far away from each other that is almost impossible to reach a middle ground within one day without any preparation and without any palpable effort to reach a common ground or a middle point on behalf of these two warring countries. Thanks for the attention.